Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Grace and peace, everybody. Grace and peace. Grace and peace. Welcome to the live stream. Today is Tuesday, October the 18th, 2022. And today we are going to be covering this story that I seen. Well, actually, I think I kind of covered this maybe a couple of weeks ago, or kind of alluded to this. But did you guys know? And actually, I just found this out maybe about a year ago that as a pro life activist, if you make the wrong move at one of these abortion clinics, the FBI will come and pick you up. I found this out about a year ago. Uh, and this happened too, and this actually happened, this hit close to home, uh, where a brother in Christ of mine who was in New Jersey at the time, and he was spending a majority of his time preaching in front of an abortion clinic, and they made some accusations that he was trying to block the women from going into the abortion clinic, and the feds came to his house, like about 20. Grace and peace, brother Abbott, and I think brother Abbott too, who is another brother of mine in the faith, who also attends the same church as me. I think he has a friend that the law enforcement came and arrested them as well. But yeah, uh, the brother's name is Dan Kearney, and I think I interviewed him back in February of this year. And I'm going to play a short clip from his page of his encounter with the FBI. Okay, they made some accusations, said that he was trying to obstruct women coming into the abortion clinic, and not the state, not the local police, not the county or the city police came to his house. The FBI, the Federal Bureau of Investigation, came to his house. Now, this has garnered some attention. Well, I don't think it's garnered too much attention um, on the nationwide level, but there are some people who are who are catching wind of stories like this. And I think that now some Republican lawmakers apparently are now getting involved, and they are now trying to address some of these pro life activists who have been arrested by the FBI. And they are basically saying that this is an overreach or an overstepping of their power and their usage. Put this in perspective. We all know we've been hearing about some of these rappers who have been under federal indictments, um, for criminal activity, stuff like that. People talk about the RICO charges and stuff, and everybody's been talking about the 98% conviction rate from the FBI and stuff like that, especially when you got guys out committing crimes at a certain level. Everybody talks about the FBI. Well, this is the same FBI that, once again, if you make the wrong move, or even if you get accused of blocking a woman from going to an abortion clinic, the same FBI will come to your house and pick you up. But anyway, not to take too long, uh, let's go ahead and just get into the article and read exactly what it says. And this is from, I think this is from the ChristianPost.com. Yeah, it is. And the title reads, Republican lawmakers decry FBI's, quote, open war on pro-life activists, end quotes. Republican lawmakers are seeking answers from the FBI regarding what they see as selective enforcement of federal laws as arrests of pro life activists make national headlines. Representative Chip Roy of Texas and Senator Mike Lee of Utah, along with 38 of their colleagues, wrote a letter to the FBI Director Christopher Wray Wednesday. In the letter, the elected officials expressed concern about the quote continued politicization end quotes of the law enforcement agency, specifically the quote unquote recent rise in high profile FBI investigations into pro life Americans. The letter listed examples of recent arrests of pro life activists for purported violations of the Freedom of Access to Clinic Interests FACE Act. Okay, that's what it's called, FACE. That's the acronym for the FACE Act. The FACE Act subjects federal charges on anyone who quotes intentionally injures, intimidates, or interferes or attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person in quotes seeking to obtain or provide abortions. Violations face a maximum penalty of 11 years in prison and a fine up to $250,000. Now, now I know a lot of people can look at this and they can say, uh, well, as long as you as a pro-life activist, as long as you stay within certain boundaries and you don't try to hurt anyone, you don't try to obstruct anyone. If you just stay out of somebody's face, you can stand on, as long as you stand on a certain corner or you stand across the street, then that should be fine, right? Just just obey the law and you don't have to worry about the FBI. The problem with the language that we just read is that that can be interpreted many of different ways. It can be interpreted many different ways because all someone has to do is make the claim that you carried out any one of those acts, and the FBI will get involved and they can come pick you up. So that's why sometimes, when they have this broad language, they're not really too, um, that they're not really too. What's the word I'm looking for? They're not too explicit. They're not really given like a full example of what they mean by some of these terms. It's up for interpretation. Well, let's continue. The letter highlighted that the September 23rd arrest of Mark Hulk, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, who was indicted by a federal grand jury for, quote, allegedly pushing an abortion clinic volunteer who had harassed his 12-year-old son, end quote. The incident that led to Hulk's arrest in an early morning raid on his home in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, occurred last year at a Planned Parenthood clinic in Philadelphia as the pro life activist and his son gathered to pray outside the abortion facility. The letter noted that Hulk's, quote, arrest occurred despite the fact the charges had been dismissed by local authorities, end quote. And this is why I said you guys have to watch some of the language that is being used, and uh, especially when they paint this whole broad brush of what they consider impeding, um, or trying to restrict someone to have abortion rights access or intimidation, all of these types of things. But let's read that again. He was arrested despite the fact that the charges had been dismissed by local authorities. So the local authorities dismissed the charges. They dismissed the charges. Says, okay, nothing to see here. And the feds still picked it up. The FBI still picked it up. I'm telling you, this is serious. Fighting for the life of the innocent In this country, it is serious. The same people who go after the big time drug dealers and big time guys who are involved in organized crime and all of that stuff, they come after pro life activists. Good morning, I'm Chris Duke. Let's continue. This stuff is alarming, very alarming. A separate arrest of a pro life activist cited as a violation of the FACE Act, identified in the letter, stemmed from a Minnesota encounter at a Planned Parenthood clinic that involved a client at the abortion clinic attempting to cut up a pro life activist sign, resulting in the woman pushing her away. While charges were dismissed in Minnesota State Court, the FBI has pursued an indictment anyway. Yet in another case, a priest in New York State is facing FACE Act charges, even though local authorities already sentenced the man. Quote, these are not federal law enforcement matters and represent an abuse of the FACE Act, the Republican lawmakers wrote. Quote, during floor debate on the legislation, Representative Patricia Schroeder of Colorado, a co-sponsor of the FACE Act, argued that empowering the federal government through the FACE Act was only necessary if the states cannot help. Then we have a duty to move in, end quote. Schroeder, as quoted in the letter, insisted that, quote, we do not do it unless it appears the states cannot handle it. According to Schroeder, quote, the federal government does not move in until it appears that in some parts of the country there is a breakdown, end quote. Quote, overzealous prosecutors under the FACE Act weaponize the powers of the federal law enforcement against American citizens in what should firmly be state and local matters. The letter added, quote, further, these abuses of federal power against pro-life Americans based solely on their beliefs undermine the American people's trust in the FBI, end quote. And I think it really does. It really does. Clearly, there is misuse of the FBI in this particular case, to where when you see local municipalities that come across some of these incidences between the pro-life activists and the abortion clinic volunteers, or the abortion clinics regardless, the local municipalities, they say, okay, we resolved the issue, nothing here to see. The FBI still comes in and still hand out indictments. They still hand out the indictments, and they'll still come and pick you up. If you impede a woman's right to take the innocent life of another human being, of their own baby, if you impede on that, the FBI can come and put you in prison for a maximum up to 11 years and fine you $250,000. I hope that a lot of you guys are really paying attention to this. But we're going to talk in a minute. The lawmakers concluded the letter by requesting a briefing on the FBI's application of the FACE Act by October 20th and seeking information about the number of investigations the FBI had opened up under the FACE Act in each of the years dating back to 2019. Additionally, the letter asked FBI officials to provide statistics about how many of the FACE Act investigations in the relevant years dealt with abortion facilities, pregnancy centers, and churches or houses of worship. This line of questioning reflects that the FACE Act also prohibits, quote, attempts to injure, intimidate, or interfere with any person lawfully exercising or seeking to exercise the First Amendment right of religious freedom at a place of worship, end quote. Additional questions posted to the FBI include inquiries into, quote, how many of these cases involve subjects with charges previously dismissed or sentenced by state courts, end quote. And what criteria the FBI uses when deciding, quotes, whether to open a case under the FACE Act that was previously dismissed by state courts, end quote. Lawmakers also pressed the FBI for qualification of the amount of resources the FBI is using on FACE Act investigations, as well as the existence of any, quote, new guidance, memos, or internal correspondence regarding FACE Act investigations, end quote, since the U.S. Supreme Court's ruling in Dobbs versus Jackson's Women's Health Organization determining that the U.S. Constitution did not contain a right to abortion. Pro-life pregnancy centers and churches have faced vandalism following the Dobbs decision, and the letter contended that the federal law enforcement has failed to adequately respond to those attacks while working swiftly to take legal action against pro-life activists engaged in, quote, nonviolent civil disobedience, end quote. Right. So the FBI is not investigating vandalism on pregnancy resource centers. Some of these places have been burnt. These are okay. Now the pregnancy resource centers, the places that actually provide free women's health care, which are ran by a lot of local churches, a lot of local ministries. They help women get the health care that they need, real health care, right? Like prenatal vitamins. I think they take them to doctor's visits. In some cases, they may help pay for a doctor's visit. They provide Pampers, formula, all types of stuff, clothing, you name it. Whatever a woman needs to assist her in her pregnancy and even after child care and daycare, all of that type of stuff. These places that have been vandalized by people who clearly hate that these people actually provide the access, which they say that isn't there. They say that there is no help for these women. No one's helping to try to take care of these babies. So that's why they need abortion. But these places that actually go out and actually do the work, they're vandalized, burned. People throw paint and write all types of nasty messages and stuff on the side of these buildings. The FBI won't investigate those. Don't investigate that, but they'll come and pick you up if you get into it with a person who works or volunteers at these abortion clinics. They'll use all of the power and resources to come and pick you up for trying to stop a lot of these women from having abortions and pointing them to the pregnancy resource centers. They'll come and pick you up for that if somebody interprets that you tried to impede on a woman's right to kill her baby. Swift to pick you up, but somehow they turn a blind eye to the pregnancy resource centers that's actually providing the service to help these women, which are quote unquote not there. I just want y'all to pay attention to that. Something else going on here. Congressman Roy elaborated on his concerns about the FBI's enforcement on the FACE Act in a statement last week. Quote, I am outraged by the Biden administration's open war on pro-life activists and weaponization of federal law enforcement against patriotic Americans for their beliefs, he said, referring to Hulk's arrest. Roy proclaimed, quote, this administration has a lot of explaining to do when protecting one's own child means armed FBI agents at the door, end quote. At a protest calling for the impeachment of U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland over what they view as his abuse of the FACE Act, Randall Terry of the pro-life advocacy group Operation Rescue suggested that the FACE Act is working exactly as intended. Quote, when Bill Clinton was elected, he appointed Janet Reno as his attorney general. Terry explained, quote, when she came up to the microphone in her press conference, she said one of her top priorities was to break the back of Operation Rescue. Wow. End quote. I did not know that. I did not know that. Terry stressed that the FACE Act was, quote, always designed to isolate people of faith who wanted to defend the unborn, end quotes. In a previous interview with the Christian Post, Terry recalled that before the law's passage in 1994, hundreds of people would blockade abortion clinics for an entire day. Now that those actions come with federal charges, such large scale protests no longer take place. Terry told CP that, quote, once that law was passed, it effectively broke the back of our movement, end quote. And that is the end of this particular article. So there you have it. There you have it. FBI will come and pick you up if you are accused of violating the FACE Act. But I want to do this. Don't believe me? Like I said, I didn't even know about this until about a year ago. And this is a friend of mine, close friend of mine, right? I even interviewed him on my channel. And he is a full-time traveling evangelist. Currently lives in India, but in this particular case, he was in New Jersey. Now, I'm going to show, this is a video that happened roughly around November of 2021. And I'm not going to play the music because I don't, it might come with a copyright strike or something like that. So I'm just going to just let it play. Uh-oh. What did I do? All right, let's see. Hold on. Okay, that's him and his family. Let me go down some. All right. Still not playing. Okay, what did I do? It was just playing. Not too. Oh, here we go. All right. Go ahead and mute it. All right. So, these are the federal agents. Okay, look at all of these federal agents. All of these cars picking him up. That's him right there being taken off. All of these cars, all of these agents came to his house to pick him up because he was standing in front of an abortion clinic in New Jersey. And one of the people called the law enforcement authorities to say, hey, this guy is trying to impede women or stop women from having abortions. Now, the charges was dropped, and I think he was released maybe like a couple of days later. But all of this for one guy who's a non-threat, doesn't have any guns, doesn't have a criminal record. The FBI came to his house, all of these agents, to pick him up because somebody called and said that he was trying to stop women from having abortions. If you don't think that this is real, it's getting real. It's getting real. Let me put something in perspective before I get up out of here. A lot of y'all people, hold on, my brother Paul Abbott. Now, Paul Abbott, he's ground zero. Another brother of mine in the Christian faith. Him and his family, heavy in the pro-life movement and pro-life ministry, I should say. He said Chet Gallagher was arrested in the latest wave 13 days ago. He is in his 70s. He is still in jail. He's a man I know personally. Yeah. And I think we talked about this at church one time. FBI. FBI. Yeah, but like I was saying, I want to talk to a lot of you Black Lives Matter folks. A lot of you folks who say that we need to be worried about the abortion happening outside of the womb with police, white police killing black men, right? We need to be more worried about that, or as equally worried about that as abortion, which affects the black community more than any other community in America, right? And the reason why I'm bringing this up is because a lot of the people that I encounter are black. Majority of the people who watch my channel are black. And majority of the people that I had these conversations with about abortion in the communities are black. All right. For you guys, with all of this black power, oh, black power fist up. And I covered this in a 4-part video series. So all of this stuff, you guys can go and check it out yourself. It's a playlist. The abortion industry was started by eugenics, which was largely geared towards curving the black population. It's a fact. There's historical records of that. Today, if you fast forward to today, if you try to stop a person, most likely, for the sake of this context, if you try to stop a black woman from going to intentionally take the life of her child to reduce the numbers of black folks, which, by the way, abortion has affected our community so much to where now Hispanics outnumber us. Hispanics outnumber us. We're third in population. And I've covered this before. A lot of times Hispanics, majority of Hispanics, since they have like a Catholic background, they don't believe in abortion. A lot of y'all like to say, oh, you know, them Hispanics, they'll have 20, 30 kids. They've surpassed the black community in population. And we've been reducing our own numbers. Try to stop a black woman from getting an abortion in front of an abortion clinic. The feds are coming to pick you up. The feds are coming to pick you up for you trying to stop a black woman from intentionally killing her baby. And I ain't just saying just black women. It's across the board. It doesn't matter what the color of the woman is. You try to stop any woman, the FBI is still going to come and get you. But I'm talking to y'all black power folks. Y'all fist up George Floyd, fist up Michael Brown. Y'all always want to talk about the conspiracy against the black man. Oh, it's a conspiracy against the black man. Where y'all at with this? Where y'all at? Silent as usual. And I'm not talking about just secular black folks. I'm talking about a lot of y'all who call yourself Christian. Super black power. Y'all got all the conspiracies down packed. Everybody coming against the black man, X, Y, and Z, try to stop a black baby from being aborted and see what happens to your butt. The man, the white man will come and pick you up and throw you in jail. But that same white man that'll pick you up for trying to stop a black woman from aborting a baby won't go and investigate a pregnancy resource center that provides help to these same black women, those places that get vandalized and get burned down, they won't go and investigate that. Totally silent. Try to stop that woman from having a baby. I mean, no, from having an abortion. They'll come and pick you up. Same folks who picking up all of these rappers with these RICO charges, they'll come for you too. That's why, as Christians, this is just the icing on the cake. This is just the tip of the iceberg. Because if the Federal Bureau of Investigation, if the FBI can be used for this, then what else can they be used for? That's why, and I'm trying not to go too long because it's already been 30 minutes and I need to get up off of here. But if they can use the FBI, if they can abuse the power of the FBI for cases like this, what do you think that, I don't even want to think about it because I don't want to start going into conspiracies and all of this stuff. And like I said, this could end up being a long drawn out topic, but it's just some food for thought. I want you guys to really pay attention to what's going on. That's why when we're having these elections and stuff coming up, that's why us as people, we can't just be voting Republican down the ballot, voting Democrat down the ballot. You have to listen to what these people are saying. A lot of black folks go running to the polls just because a person got a D next to their name. Don't even know what these person's policies are. I'm just going to vote because that black people are supposed to vote for Democrat. If you vote for Republican, you're a racist. And if you're black and you vote Republican, then you're a coon and you're Uncle Tom. They don't want to hear nothing. They don't want to hear nothing else. But these same Democratic lawmakers who talk about, they pander to y'all about reparations and, oh, we going to give y'all this and we going to do this for the black community. They get elected. They do nothing for the black community. But in the places that says, despite what the government is doing, despite who's in office, we're going to try to provide help to these women who that they say don't have any access to a lot of these resources. We're going to put our money into helping these women. When those places get destroyed, FBI don't say anything. And a lot of these places are in neighborhoods that are easily accessible to the less fortunate. And when they get defaced or when they get vandalized, FBI doesn't come for them, but they'll come for you if you try to stop that same woman from getting an abortion. But anyway, guys, but I got to get up out of here. Let me know what y'all think in the comment section below. Do y'all believe that, hey, follow the law, obey the law, and you won't have to worry about the FBI coming to pick you up? A woman should still have access to abortion. It should still be a woman's right to choose. And we need to be worried about the abortion taking place outside of the womb just as equally as we can, as equally as we put enough energy to those that are happening inside of the womb. Or do you guys happen to believe that abortion is an evil act? And anybody, any government, any person, lawmaker who is willing to prosecute anyone, who is willing to talk to somebody, who's willing to stop this evil act, that a government that willing to prosecute anybody who wants to try to stop that is an evil government. And us as Christians, despite whatever the government says or whatever they do to us, we still got to stand firm, because every person, whether born or unborn, is made in the image of God. But, whatever y'all think, let me know in the comment section below. And as always, like this video, rate it, share it, subscribe, hit that notification bell so whenever I do get ready to go live, you guys will be the first ones to see it. And with that, you guys have a blessed day, and I will talk to y'all later, Lord willing.